Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel and welcome to Board Game Breakfast. On the road here at a convention in Orlando. I'm at a homeschool convention. We're showing people games and things like that. Now I want you to realize a couple things. First of all, next week Board Game Breakfast will be a day late because we're going to the UK Games Expo. Fantastic. If you're at the UK Games Expo, me and Z Garcia will both be there along with a lot of different contributors and stuff from our UK contingent. We're doing a top 10 there. We're doing a game show there. I'm doing some Q&A with some designers there. So we hope that you can stop by and have a great time. Come by our booth. We'll have a few promos there and things. We'll try to put a schedule of this stuff up online on our guild at Board Game Geek. We'll also post it at Facebook so you can find all that. So come and see us there. Also, Origins is coming up in just a couple weeks. We'll be there too. We'll be trying to do the same thing for that. So keep an eye out. We really would love to see you at Origins. And then finally, we have a contest this week. Now, Geeky Goodies, they do our t-shirts for us. We have different t-shirts. You have a chance to win one of these t-shirts. All you have to do to win this is to go to geekygoodies.com/contest, and you can enter there. The contest is going to run from May 28th to June 8th. We'll announce the winners, or they'll announce the winners on June 11th. And while you're there, if you want to pick up a Dice Tower t-shirt, you can. We're going to be making new ones in the future, so keep an eye out. We have a lot of new dice guys and things, and I have some ideas for some new shirts that I think will be fun. Also, later on today, I'll be doing a live Q&A, actually pretty soon, because it's Memorial Day in America, and I want to do a few things at home before we head off to the UK. Alrighty, well, let's get started with the news. So for me, the most exciting news of the week is the announcement. It was like a brief throwaway announcement on their Kickstarter update from CMON that they're making Starcadia Quest. Now, they haven't really told us much more about it. I do know that it's a similar game to Arcadia Quest, but not quite the same thing. Essentially, Arcadia Quest in space. But I know that they're making some changes. What they are, we'll have to find out. So Azul was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres. So in honor of that, or whatever reason, next move is making a giant version of Azul. Huge thing. I've seen this in person. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. But you have to pre-order these to get them, and they're only going to make them if they get 500 pre-orders. You can go to their website, but if you want it, it's $300. But that's a lot for Azul, but it's a really beautiful thing to have. WizKids has announced King's Struggle. They continue their tradition of making games with very boring covers for whatever reason. This is a trick-taking set collection game from Robert Burke. Axis and Allies Zombies. Okay, they've told us more about this. 2 to 5 players, 60 to 180 minutes. It takes place in 1941. The Axis are winning the war, and then suddenly zombies show up. So the zombies are not either player. You all have to fight them together. Who knows? There's 215 miniatures in the box. I have no idea. I haven't played Axis and Allies in years, but I'll probably play this one. Marvel Legendary World War Hulk. This is the 16th expansion for this game. That's crazy. And it's also the biggest one with over 400 cards. But it uses one of the best storylines in the Marvel comic universe, Planet Hulk and World War Hulk. So I'm really excited to see these characters in the game. North Star has branched out. You know, they make party games and they make light games. Now they're bringing a Euro game from Grana over. It was Capital. And if you can look at my review of Capital, I really liked it. They've renamed it Warsaw City of Ruins. I don't know. It still has a very dull cover to it, and I don't know that it will do that well, but it is a good game if you get a chance. IDW has a little game coming out called Invader Zim. That's about all I know about that. Steve Jackson is bringing back Illuminati. Wow. This game is a really old game. One of their first games about controlling secret government organizations who control other organizations. So we'll have to wait and see how that looks. Clank in Space has their first expansion coming out, Apocalypse. This is going to be coming out at Gen Con, so you'll be excited about that. 2 modules, 35 cards, a boss figure, things like that. And then the biggest announcement, or I thought it would be the biggest announcement of the week, Cosmic Encounter, the 42nd anniversary edition. Now, of course, they did that because of Douglas Adams. But they've been teasing that this big announcement of Cosmic Encounter is coming. It's a new edition of Cosmic Encounter, but it's not really that different. As far as I can tell, the only differences are the ships are now translucent. There is the demon alien is now in there. They had him at Cosmic Encounter Con. You could get him there, so he'll be added in. And then some Cosmic Combo cards, which are basically, these are ways to set up the groups that you can play with. Like, if you're not sure, play with the mind and these things. I don't care about any of that, honestly. I guess on one hand, I'm glad because I thought the edition of Cosmic was already good enough. On the other hand, though, I don't like that these new translucent ships are here. They're not going to match the ships of the expansions unless they're going to be redoing those also. So overall, I'm kind of meh on this announcement because a big announcement, having an edition that's slightly different than the previous edition, that's cool. I'm glad they're still making Cosmic Encounter. It's just not as exciting as they had built it up to be. Anyway, that's what I think. But maybe my mind will be changed. Maybe they'll announce other things. But for now, I'm glad they're doing this, I guess. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. All right, that's the regular news. Let's go to Kickstarter.
Happy breakfast, everybody. Whether your childhood television was full of adorable Northmen or buckets of slime, we've got a project for you in today's crowdfunding roundup. Tales of the Northlands brings the world of the classic British show Noggin the Nog to the tabletop world. In this worker placement game, players must develop estates to aid a noggin, prevent Nogbad from taking over, and gain enough prestige to make it onto the Council of Elders. Influence is used to take actions which impact a rondel that acts like a game clock and changes turn order. Tales of the Northlands includes 3 ways to play the game. Standard mode is the full strategic game that has a longer playtime and heavier worker placement gameplay. Family mode is a simplified version playing in under an hour and really intended to work well for young players. And there's also a solo mode. The art for Tales of the Northlands is by Peter Furman, the original Noggin the Nog TV artist, and you can get a copy for £50 plus shipping. Nickelodeon's Splat Attack is a tactical battle game with a food fight theme that will appeal to every fan of 90s Nicktoons. You'll move around the board, gather food, and pick up cool points. Battle happens when you throw food at your opponents, and cards let you boost your dice count. If you hit, players take a splat marker that will slowly kind of clog up their player board and lead to the target to get splatted. Designed by Jonathan Ying, the designer of games like Star Wars Imperial Assault and Bargain Quest, Nickelodeon's Splat Attack includes a plethora of beloved characters from Ren and Stimpy to SpongeBob, Invader Zim, Rugrats, and far more, complete with miniatures. You can get the base game of Nickelodeon Splat Attack for $70 plus shipping, or the deluxe edition that plays up to 8 players for $95 plus shipping. 5 Minute Dungeon is back with a new expansion, Curses, Foiled Again. 5 Minute Dungeon is a real-time cooperative dungeon dive. A deck of door cards forms the dungeon, and players play cards from their hand to defeat the monsters, obstacles, and the big boss. There are no turns as you work together in real time to match symbols or use a well-timed action card, and it takes a lot of talking and fast play to win in 5 minutes or less. The expansion adds 2 new heroes to allow up to 6 players, and curse cards that change the rules of the game in sometimes silly ways and are different for each dungeon boss, adding even more variability. Artifacts are powerful one-time use cards that have a variety of impacts. You can get the Curses Foiled Again expansion for $20 Canadian or the big box that has all 5 Minute Dungeon goodies for $50 Canadian plus shipping. From the creator of Assault at Doomrock comes Crisis at Steamfall. Play cooperatively or competitively as you manage your characters, each of which has unique ability cards. Competitively, you're trying to gain influence in the city using a unique action management system. You play on a randomly generated city from modular tiles, with each location offering a different action or benefit or secret information. Action building leads to interesting decisions between short or long-term benefits as you gather junk items that you can combine to create new action sequences and work to break these ciphers through what is essentially resource management. In cooperative mode, you work together to deal with crises that get laid out on the board and destroy alien pylons. A copy of Crisis at Steamfall takes a pledge of $85 plus shipping. Villagers is a drafting and tableau building game with really neat graphic design. Each round, players draft village cards from a rowed row. Villagers can go into your tableau as long as you have enough builders, and when the market phase triggers, your village will produce gold. But villagers have to be placed in the correct order in the production chain. After all, you can't make jewelry until you've mined the stones. And some villagers have conditional scoring with extra criteria that you have to meet to score big points. And there are special villagers that can help you in a myriad of ways, but are rare. Villagers includes a full solo mode, and a copy of the game takes a pledge of just £22 plus shipping. And last but not least, In On Tour, you're taking your band on a 100-day roll and write tour across the USA. You'll want to visit as many states as possible because at the end of the game, each stop you can link will count for points. All players play simultaneously, 2 dice are rolled, and players must write the 2 different number combos they create onto their board. Cards will limit the zone you can write in, and writing within the highlighted city on a card will net you a bonus point. When all the spaces are filled, you'll connect the stops trying to create the longest route possible by connecting numbers in ascending order. On Tour has optional variable setup that helps add some variety, and the base set takes a pledge of just $24 plus shipping. But the $48 pledge level for On Tour includes enough components to play up to 12 players. Okay, that's all I've got for you this episode. Hopefully something caught your eye. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Hey there everyone, I'm Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with this week's segment, From the Page to the Table. This week I'm going to talk about the book and the board game together because for me, I can't talk about one without the other. The book this week is The Killer Angels, written by Michael Shera, and the board game is Battle Cry, published by Wizards of the Coast and designed by Richard Borg. Both of these come at very influential times in my life and are among my most favorite. The Killer Angels I read in 2008 and is one of those books that for me set both me and my now husband on a journey together. It's a book about the Battle of Gettysburg, a fictional account, and eventually ended up winning the Pulitzer Prize, unfortunately, after the author died. When we read this book, we had just gone to Gettysburg, and it changed our life, really. It set my husband on a path to get his master's in military history, and for both of us to become Civil War reenactors as a couple together. Battle Cry is my first modern board game, and we got it our first Christmas. We were married in 2010, and I remember spending a lot of really cold winter nights sitting down, playing together, and thinking to myself, oh, what have I gotten myself into? It was a lot at one point, and now we play it and we're almost done with the campaign. I love it at 2 players. We are still working our way through all of the battles 7.5 years later. I met Richard Borg a couple of years ago at Gen Con, and he's a total sweetheart. I love both of these so much together. Highly recommend them. That's all this week. Happy breakfast and happy reading.
Randy and Ellen, we game together.
It's your turn.
Ooh.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And I'm Ellen, and welcome to Games Just Played, where we talk about the games that we just played. And Randy, what did we play tonight?
Tonight we played Lord of the Rings Journey to Mordor. It's a 2 to 4 player roll and write game, kind of similar to what Yahtzee would be.
Yeah, Yahtzee.
You take 5 dice, you roll those dice. Every time you have to select at least one of those dice faces. Once you lock in all 5 dice faces, you do what the dice say. You're trying to get rings so you can advance your hobbit down the little hobbit track on your sheet of paper. If you get Nazgul are trying to basically intercept you before you get to Mordor, and if that happens, you lose.
Exactly. The thing that surprised me about this game is it's not cooperative like at all. You are your own hobbit and you're trying to get to Mordor before the other hobbits. And in that way, there's a take that factor. Each hobbit is assigned a color, and if you roll a Nazgul with that person's color, it goes onto their Nazgul track, which progresses them to Mordor.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
I lost this one at the last second.
You did.
I needed 2 more rings at the end, and I just couldn't grab them.
You couldn't make it, guys. You just couldn't do it. Also, hi, cute, tiny. I love the size of this box. Anything little like this is just precious. So there's no excuse to not have this. It can fit anywhere.
Super quick game, plays in maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
Very basic.
We've played it at 2 or 3 players. We've liked to both. 4, you get a little bit more interaction with the Take That.
Yeah.
But fantastic game.
It's a really good game to play after like a really beefy game where you just need to chill. So we love it.
Yep. And if you're wondering what this picture is behind us, it's our picture of the day. We're photographers. This is a star trail photo that I took while we were down in Florida.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. You did fantastic. Great, folks.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm Randy.
I'm Ellen. See you next time on Games Just Played.
So what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? We're going to the UK Games Expo, but we've recorded some stuff ahead of time. You'll see some top 10s and other things from me, so just keep an eye out for that. Me, Sam, and Z have recorded 4 Miami Dice reviews, though. So those are going to be going up this week. So you'll see like the new Manhattan Project, Luxor, and a couple other games. So keep an eye out for those. An unboxing will be going up. And, of course, our podcasts and other podcasts, you can find all those on DicetowerNetwork.com. That's pretty much what's coming out this week. Keep an eye on it. And Sam will be doing some live stuff too. So just check out our channel as the week goes by.
Hello everyone, my name is Annette and you may know me as Matters Plays. And today on Applied Mechanics, I'm going to go over the game of Flamme Rouge. So this is a racing game that also has a little bit of deck building. However, the catch-up mechanism or slipstreaming is what really intrigues me. So let me show you a little bit about the game and why I really like it. So here you have the setup of a game. You have plenty of different maps to choose from. Players will have 2 different bicyclists to control, the sprinter and the rouleur. Simultaneously, players will draw up 4 cards from each deck. Out of those 4 cards, you're going to pick one to play face down. Players will all reveal their cards, and players will move their bicyclists depending on what they played, starting with who's ever up front. Whenever you're moving your player, you always make sure to stop in the right lane. Whenever you're moving a player, it does not cost an extra move to switch lanes. And sometimes when you're moving a player, you may end up stuck behind a group if you can't pass them up. Any cards played are removed from the game. Then you'll apply slipstreaming to the game, where any group of riders, if they're only one space away from another pack, will be able to move forward without playing a card. This may occur several times. Then you'll check the group to see whoever is leading the pack. That person will get an exhaustion card. That card only gives the player a movement of 2, hence slowing them down. The first person across the finish line is the winner. So as you can see, you're controlling 2 different bicyclists by using 2 different decks, playing these different cards based upon where you're positioned on this map or race. The interesting part is the application of the theme by using a catch-up mechanism. You're slipstreaming across the map, but if you fall a little bit behind, you can easily catch up without even playing a card. And that's why I really like Flamme Rouge. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
On today's works of art, we're going to be talking about The Grim Forest, featuring artwork done by Mr. Cuddington. The Grim Forest is a resource management game where you play relatives of the 3 little pigs and are competing to develop King Reginald's lands for his financial gain and your right to be called his royal builder. Mr. Cuddington has a very Disney-esque style which makes for a perfect fit, and it really shines in this game. The gather boards have beautiful landscape art that represents the various locations you have to travel to gain resources. The gather cards have amazing artwork showing the pigs visiting those locations and collecting those resources. The gorgeous player boards have artwork representing the various locations in the fairy tales that we have grown to love. So you'll have the Snow White player board that shows a wintry wonderland. Then you'll have Rapunzel's territory, which has her big tower and she's in the window with her hair hanging out of it. Then you'll have the Robin Hood forest that has him hanging out in the background, and in the foreground you'll see Jack climbing the beanstalk. Then you'll have Hansel and Gretel walking down the path to the gingerbread house. And now we have the fable cards that either represent different actions you could perform and or individuals that you meet to throw a wrench into your opponent's plans. And finally we have the friend cards, which represent the various allies that will help you in your plans to become the royal builder. Mr. Cuddington is very popular within the board game industry, and some might think that it is just one person behind the curtain when it is really 2. It's a husband and wife duo David Forrest and Lena Cassette. You could check out more artwork from them at mrcuddington.com, where you can see more incredible artwork from the various board game projects that they have done. Well, that's it for today, everyone. If you want to get more information on the Grim Forest, you can check out my YouTube channel, Board Game Artistry with Gamer Joe, and you can come check out the various social media outlets that I'm on. Until next time, guys, take care.
Hi, Mike Alicio from Solomode Games. On last week's segment, I talked a bit about Kickstarter games and whether we were getting close to or had reached a tipping point where the price of many of the games were too high for most people to be able to afford. And it led to some really interesting comments on YouTube, and one of the comments dealt with the idea of value per play. And if you play a game a particular number of times and you break down how much it might cost, it might not seem so bad. And that got me to thinking. A really quick story. I used to live in Las Vegas, and I'm not a big gambler, so I typically wouldn't go down to the casinos. But when people would come out of town to visit, inevitably, of course, they'd want to go to the casinos. And I, of course, would be happy to show them around. But when I would go, I would treat it as a night out like I was going to a movie and dinner. I would have a budget. I never expected to come back with the money I went to the casino with, and I certainly didn't ever expect to make money. And I'm starting to think about board games in that way, too. When I purchase a game on Kickstarter, I know my gaming style, and that is typically Cult of the New. I'm going to play a game a few times. If it's exceptional, I might play it 10 to 12 times, but usually I'm going to be playing a game 3 to 5 times, and then I'm on to the next new game. And so I've come to understand that I'm okay with that. I don't mind spending $70 to $80 to $100 on a game and only getting 3 to 4 plays out of it, as long as I've enjoyed those plays and as long as I've enjoyed interacting with friends, or if I'm playing solo, I've gotten a good experience out of it. And so I wonder if other people have looked at value in board games in a similar way, and if so, how do you place a value on board games? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you can let me know in the comments below, that would be great. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
Two brothers set loose in a thrift store. This is Thrift Store Throwbacks.
So we're going to be playing Rampage. Now you might have thought, like, didn't a movie about Rampage, the game, just come out with The Rock? Yes, it did. And this is a game based off of that movie, except for it's called Smash Monster Rampage, to give it a little bit of difference. And these movies are always like found footage. So I got Mike there on the cam doing some found footage shaky cam, you know what I mean? So the first thing you have to do, find a figure in your house that looks the most like The Rock. Ours clearly is Captain Swaggins. We're going to take Captain Swaggins, you're going to put him here in the Rampage City. Now, you put him wherever you want. You have these die, but you don't need to use these die because The Rock's movement is limitless because he's The Rock. Get rid of those die. You can go over here in this part of the town. See all those people who are in danger, except they're not, because The Rock has already saved the day because he is The Rock. So get these guys off the board. You don't need them anymore. Now here's the thing about The Rock. He eats 30 pounds of carp a day. So you got to find some carp. Oh, is there carp under here? There's not. New building. Is there carp under here? No, there's not. We have carp. We have carp. Oh, what's that? Oh, these people have carp. You go over there. They don't. They lied to you. No one lies to The Rock. People's elbow. Okay, so you're rolling through. You're like, oh man. Gosh, you know what The Rock has tomorrow? The Rock has a shirtless scene. He's got to drop a little bit of water. Wait, let's go find some fire. So we're going to roll around. Oh, we found some fire here. What are we going to do? It's real hot. Got to sweat it out. Let's do some push-ups. Let's do some push-ups real quick. Sweat them out. Shirtless scene. Abs glistening. Let's roll over. Let's find some monsters to kill. We don't need these buildings here. We don't need these buildings. We're The Rock. We can do whatever we want. Oh, we found him here. You know what you say to him? You know how you get monsters going on? You don't punch him in the face. You don't kick him in the kneecaps. You say, "Yo, what's up, you jabroni?" Boom. Done. You win. The Rock. So that was Smash Monster Rampage.
Dang.
This game's great.
You know why it's great? It's because you finally get to be The Rock. That's all we've ever wanted, you know what I mean? And it's just finally, you get unlimited power.
Of course you do. He's The Rock. I mean, everyone in life has always wanted to be a perfect human specimen, and that person is The Rock.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
And now you get to be that person. It's like telling us that we should reach for our dreams, but we'll never get there because The Rock is the dream. And so the next time, we'll see you in the ring.
We'll see you.
Yep. Good out.
Okay, folks, well, a couple weeks ago I talked about how it's fair to compare games. But now I'm going to say that it's not always fair to compare games. Okay, so before I talk, I think you can compare any game to any game. I think you can. Now, sometimes it's kind of like apples and oranges, which, what do you think about apples and apples to Axis and Allies? Okay, that doesn't always, cross. But even more so, sometimes I get comments on my videos that they say, hey, you didn't compare this game to this game. Why didn't you do that? I don't need to do that in every game. So for example, every time I talk about a deck builder, I don't need to go through a list of every deck builder that exists. If there's another game and people are like, well, these two games seem like they're similar, you should have compared them. I don't think we have to. And there's a reason that I don't do that. First of all, I don't believe that every game is available to every single person. So if I sit there and rattle off a bunch of comparisons, it's not going to really make sense to people that I'm doing that. They'll say, well, you're talking about this game, and that doesn't really make any sense in the long run because I don't know what that game is about. So there's that, for instance. And so I have to be cognizant that people watching a review of a game may not know what these other games are. Sometimes the comparison is so obvious I have to say, well, this game is so similar to this. But for the most part, I don't feel like I have to, because you may not know those other games, and it just introduces a lot of terms and a lot of names that people don't know about. And I think that each game should be judged separately if possible. And secondly, those other games may not exist. You may say game A is really similar to game B, but game B is out of print, so who cares? What are you going to do? Go hunt down in used markets and find things when game A is readily available right now? Now, I'm always looking for new and innovative stuff in the board gaming world. I am. And when we find it, we talk about it. But I'm also happy sometimes with a game that's maybe not new and innovative, but just straight up is an entertaining, fun game to play. And that's the kind of games that I'm looking for, are games that are fun to play. And so if this game is fun to play on its own, I don't need to say its grandparents and this and that. I want to judge each game on its own. So while I said a couple weeks ago that it's fair to compare, and I think that it's reasonable. People say it's not fair to compare these games. Sure, it's fair to compare them, but I also don't have to compare them. I don't feel like we have to do that, because each game should be able to be judged on its own merits and should be able to stand on its own. And when you go buy a game, I might be best to tell you, hey, there's a better game out there that you can get right now. But I'm not best when I'm telling you, hey, there's a game out there that's better, but it's out of print, so I have it, but you don't. I think it's better to compare games on their own. So when you look at a review, when we do a review, I want people to be able to say, here's the review, here's the game, how does it play, and without a lot of extraneous outside things in. And sometimes I break my own rule there by comparing things, but I think for the most part, games should be able to stand on their own two, I was about to say feet, but I don't think many games have feet, so their own two box pieces. Okay, I'm losing the analogy here. You know what I mean. That's what I think.
Hey, this is Mike with the Board Game Makeover. In this episode, I want to show you some inexpensive ways to find some of your own board game bowls. Now, Board Game Bowls was an excellent Kickstarter campaign by Nick Atkinson, and he created some amazing looking bowls that were themed or not themed, but you can use them to put your components in. Unfortunately, I couldn't really afford to back that campaign, but a lot of people did, and a friend of mine did, and he showed me the bowls. They were really incredible looking. But I'm going to show you some cost-saving ways to find bowls that you can actually put in your board game setup and put your components in, and save a little money as well. Let me show you what I did and where I got those bowls. So I was cruising around and I stopped at the Dollar Tree and I found these cheaper plastic bowls. There was about, 6 of them for $1. That's why they're called the Dollar Tree. But they can hold your components like this and be just a cheaper way of having bowls. I also found a set of 6 of these bowls at a Goodwill shop, and they will work for displaying your components, making them easily accessible to everybody playing the game. Another item I found at the Dollar Tree are these bowls. I really like these ones, and the reason I like them is because they have a rubber inset with rubber legs. They are a little more expensive. You get 2 for $1. But they hold your components really well. And they come in different colors too. So if you don't mind spending a little more money, that's what you get. One of the best storage solutions I found was at the Dollar Tree. 10 of these for $1. And they basically look like this. They work great for games that have lots of components that you like to keep separated. And I found them especially useful in Arcadia Quest. because I can put the death tokens and name them. And I use the round ones for Arcadia Quest. And for Inferno, I use the square ones. At 10 cents each, this is an excellent buy for separating your components and storing them even within the game, and using these as your cheaper bowls, if you want to call it that, for components throughout the game. Now don't get me wrong, board game bowls and other Kickstarter campaigns like that are amazing, and they're very much full of theme for your game, and they're useful. But if you can't afford it and you have to go a little cheaper, then the Dollar Tree and the Goodwill, great places to find some really inexpensive board game bowls. Thanks for watching the Board Game Makeover. I'll see you next time.
Hi folks, this is Jonathan for This Is Broken. Today's game is going to be Caverna by Uwe Rosenberg. So bear with me, I'm going to show you what I think is broken inside that game. So this one's going to be a little bit different because this is a well-known infinite loop present inside a Caverna. I'm going to show it to you. So next time you're going to be able to play Caverna, make sure you check the Board Game Geek Caverna page on the forum and going to be able to find infinite loop. There's a thread right there where you can find the solution to be able to fix it. So for this to work, you need a wood, a stone, and a ore like that. You need to buy the trader there. This is a French style, but this is the trader in English. You need to buy all the spare parts storage, and you need to buy the seam. So what it do, with this I can trade my wood, my ore, and my stone for $2 right there. Then with that $2 I'm gonna buy it all back with this one. Then because I gained a stone, then I'm gonna gain an extra ore. Rinse and repeat all the way you want, and you're gonna gain that pile of ore, and nobody else is gonna be able to have ore for the rest of the game. So this is how it works. Make sure you check the Board Game Geek forums inside Caverna page to make sure to know how to fix that problem. And this is the part I think, and I know it's broken inside Caverna. And as you can see, even great designers can make mistakes when they design games. Thank you for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Tantrum House HQ. I'm Kevin Delp.
And I'm Melissa Delp. And today on the Throwdown, I've got Third and Taxes in the red corner.
I've got Ticket to Ride Europe in the blue corner. In Ticket to Ride Europe, by Days of Wonder, you collect and play train cards in order to place your trains on the board. You'll earn points for laying trains and for connecting the cities on your destination tickets. But uncompleted tickets are worth negative points. The player with the most points wins. The Europe version of Ticket to Ride adds tunnels, ferries, and train stations, and has larger cards.
In Turn and Taxes by Rio Grande Games, you're building post office routes. On your turn, you have to draw a card and play a card into your route. You also get to use the special ability of one of the postal officials. Then you decide whether to keep your route open or close your route and place your post offices either all in the same region or one in each region. You gain points by creating long routes, covering a region with your post offices, and upgrading your carriages. The player with the most points wins.
So we have two European route building games that both play in about 60 minutes. Ticket to Ride plays 2 to 5 players.
Turn and Taxes is 2 to 4.
This has set collection blocking and some risk with the tickets that you draw.
Now, this one doesn't have any blocking, but you can take cards that other players want. And it's risky to go for those long routes, because if you can't lay a card that connects to your route, you have to discard all of your route cards.
In both games, the pace and the end game are determined by the players. For Ticket to Ride, it's when most of your trains are gone.
And for this one, it's when someone uses all of their post offices or gets to the highest carriage. Now, at the end, the points will be totaled, but all of the points are gained openly during the game, so you could sort of keep track.
Ticket to Ride, you're going to get points with those trains you lay, but the tickets are hidden and you're going to get points for those at the end of the game.
So if you like Third and Taxes, there are 2 expansions you can get.
Well, Ticket to Ride has way more expansions and these change up the play a lot.
So which do you like better, Third and Taxes
or Ticket to Ride? Vote in the comments.
Hi, Suzanne here with this week's featured board game app. Potion Explosion took a mechanism that was popular in video games and made it analog. And now there is an app version of Potion Explosion, bringing that mechanism back home to the digital world. Available on iOS and Android, let's take a quick look at the Potion Explosion app. Not only is the base game available, but the 5th ingredient expansion was just recently added as IAP. Potion Explosion places players as wizarding students, mixing various concoctions using marbles as ingredients. Different potions have different ingredient requirements, and when you select a marble from the rack, you get that marble plus any other marbles of matching colors that clack together as that gap closes. It's immensely rewarding to see those marbles cascade together when you manage a great combo and pull marble after marble into your pool. The app version of Potion Explosion, developed by Clangor Studios for Asmodee Digital, does an excellent job of bringing that mechanism to life. The app is bright, with fun ambient animations and double coating on the marbles to aid with color blindness. The app includes a full rulebook for reference, and it also has an interactive tutorial for the base game and the new expansion. Potion Explosion includes 3 different AI difficulties, and it allows players to fully customize their game, mixing up potions and professors as you wish, which adds a really nice amount of variability to play. Additionally, Potion Explosion plays excellently online against friends with asynchronous play. Asmodee Digital continues their streak of high-quality board game app ports. Potion Explosion is a beautiful, polished app experience, from the ease of reference options in-game to the little flourishes throughout the app. Potion Explosion is an app I highly recommend you give a try.
Hi everyone. I grew up reading the Donald Duck Weekly magazine, and now a Dutch company that specializes in books for the visually impaired have made a Braille version. Turning dialogue into Braille, well, that's obvious, but there is a bigger tactile part. Palpable pictures in which Donald, Daisy, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are depicted in relief so that readers can feel how the comic duck differs from a normal duck. There is also an explanation how visual language is used in comics, like, for example, the speech bubble, and how if a speech bubble has lightning bulbs to it, it means that the character is angry. Did you know, by the way, that the Dutch names of the nephews Louis, Dewey, and Huey are Kwik, Kwek, and Kwak? Well, you bet your bippy. This week I'm looking for a game that I can play with a brilliant musician and my blind friend Jörg. Which games are out of the box, good to play with blind people. We have played a version of Backgammon that was great, and we even tried to play Catan in a modified way. But do you know of any games? Please let me know in the comments. This week I will be at the UK Games Expo. Finally, my first con of the year. I'm really looking forward to it. I will be at the Dice Tower booth, so come by, say hi, and maybe get some of the promos. I will be doing some live stuff as well. Live Pandemic. One of my favorite games. I will be doing it in front of an audience together with Paul Grogan from Gaming Rules. So if you're there, go look for it on Friday night. On Saturday, I will be doing the This Game is Broken live show. And Saturday night, I will be doing a top 10 with Z and Tom. So if you're there, please say hi, and if not, then you can always wait for the videos. My name is Dave Luzan. Thanks for watching.
Greetings and welcome to the Mega Meeple. I am Thomas Grogan, and the question I'd like to pose to you this week is one that I saw quite a while ago on one of the myriad of gaming pages on Facebook. But it was someone posing the question of they had a game night, and one of their games that they were going to play was Secret Hitler. And one of their friends was not comfortable with that game. And how would you deal with something like that? Now, with a game like Secret Hitler, there are plenty of other games, like Coup has the same style of mechanics. I mean, there are some games that I don't want to play. The game is not for me. For example, for me personally, Coma Ward. Now, I'm sure it's a great game, but For me, personally, I will never play that game. That game is not for me. A few years ago, I was in a coma for 6 weeks. A subject like a coma ward, to me, just hits a lot of raw nerves. So what do you do in a situation like that? Be it something like Coma Ward or Secret Hitler or anything else that the subject matter or the tone of the game or even just the name of the game just hits a raw nerve with people and they're not comfortable in playing that particular game. Sound off in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. You can also reach out to me to any of our social media pages or listen to our weekly podcast. All the links and pertinent information is found in the website. And until next time, thank you so much for watching.
Hello guys, I'm Cardboard Rhino and welcome to Rhino Says Yes. Today I have a great suggestion for those who love cooperative games and those who are secretly dreaming of being part of a bank heist. It's Burgle Bros. Burgle Bros is a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players. You play as one of the members of an elite crew that can pull off impossible heists. In the bank setup, the building has 3 floors made of face-down tiles representing rooms with different properties, and each floor has its own safe to find and crack. You start on the first floor and your mission is to get in, steal all the loot from the safes and escape through the roof without getting caught by the guards. Each player has 3 stealth tokens, and whenever they are on the same tile with a guard, they lose 1. If any player is caught without a stealth token, the game is over. Each character has its own unique power that will come in handy, and each player during their turn can take up to 4 actions, choosing from peek at an adjacent tile, move, attempt to crack the safe, or hack a computer. An important part of the game is the guard movement. In each floor you have 1 guard patrolling, and he is moving towards a destination in the shortest path possible. After each player's turn, the guard moves as well, and the number on the guard die indicates his speed, as in how many tiles he moves each time. After reaching his destination, a new destination is revealed. When a player has triggered an alarm in a certain room, then that room becomes the guard's new destination and he moves faster by the number of alarms activated at that given moment. What I enjoy the most about Burgle Bros is that it gives you an adrenaline rush when trying to sneak in and out of rooms without getting caught. The guard's movement gets faster and faster the more time you spend in the building and the higher up you go on the floors, which makes it all more exciting and calls for really good cooperation and coordination. Also, the rules feel very intuitive and the game is very simple in its core, which I think makes it a really fun family game. So Rhino says yes to Burgle Bros. You should definitely give it a try.
Hello, my name's Dan and this is Cora and we're here today to talk to you about the UK Games Expo, aren't we, Cora?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, are you looking forward to the UK Games Expo?
Yeah.
Yeah? What are you looking forward to about it?
Dunno. Playing games!
Playing games, playing lots of games. And we're going to take some games with us because although there is a great family zone at the UK Games Expo, we're also going to take some games with us. Some small games, and these are games that anyone could take with them to anywhere.
It's big.
About that big. So, the first game we're going to take with us is one of your favourites. It's...
Hippo!
Hippo! Why do you like Hippo?
Maths.
Maths. Lots of maths.
Love maths!
Loves maths. Who doesn't? So that's that. Let's move on quick, we haven't got much time. Wacklebed.
Wacklebed.
Why are we taking Wacklebed? Because it's wobbly and it might fall off. And also, we might see the designer. We know the designer of Wacklebed is going to be there, don't we? Good. Next game, quick, move on.
Sleeping Queens!
Sleeping Queens, one of our family favourites, this one. One that the whole family can play. Not the whole family, because there's 5 of us.
Grandma, Granddad.
Not Grandma, Granddad, Auntie Megan, no, all those people can't play. That'd be a big game. But a very good game. It's a real classic. Okay, so if you're going to the UK Games Expo, then make sure you come up and see us. I certainly like saying hello to people. And do you want people to come up and say hello to you? Yeah, Cora is well up for that. You really enjoyed it last year when people kept coming up to you and saying hello. You did?
I think I remember it now.
You think there was that time everyone kept coming up to you and saying, "Are you Cora?"
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. And also, Cora's brother and sister are going to be there as well, so they'll be very impressed.
And Mum.
And Mum, so they'll all be very impressed.
And Grandma and Granddad.
No, they're not. We we give the UK Games Expo, even though we haven't been yet, to... What kind of thumbs up?
Normal.
Normal thumbs up.
Hey, it's Matthew. Weird. Hey, it's Matthew here, and I'm just continuing my series on all the card games I love. And this week's card game isn't strictly a card game. And by strictly, I mean it's not even a card game in the slightest. And it's Mexican Train Dominoes. And hear me out. The reason I'm including Mexican Train Dominoes in my list of card games I love is because I'm not going to do a list of domino games because I haven't got one. And Mexican Train Dominoes kind of fills the exact same void in my life, which I fill with card games. It's a lonely, lonely void. Anyway, it's a great game, and I am going to explain the rules as quick as possible. Okay, everybody gets some dominoes. You've got a little thing in the middle, which is like the central hub. And on your first turn, you play as many dominoes as you can. They're double 12s, and if you can play all your dominoes, you go out. And that's great, because you won that turn. But if you can't play a domino, you have to stop. Once everyone's gone around once, you play on your own track, one domino at a time. Or you can play on the communal track, which is the Mexican Train. But if you can't play, you got trouble, because you have to put your little train, you get a little bit of a train thing, you put it on your track, which means your track's open for anyone, giving everyone else more options to play all their dominoes. Which is a bad time for you, because you're not going to win. So my reason for bringing it up is that if you like card games, then I really would suggest trying Mexican Train Dominoes, because it's got the same feel, it gives the same satisfaction, with just enough game for it to be a game, but not too much game for you to be able to talk about, hey, I haven't seen you in 15 years, how's your life been? Mine? No, it was terrible. And I'll see you next week. Bye.
Good morning, Tom and fellow breakfast munchers. I was really excited to finally see Friedman Freeze in the Top of Designer series that you're running. I'm a big fan of him, love Power Grid, love Fable Fruit, and especially I love Copycat. It's literally got Friedman Freeze's face on the box cover, and Tom, you're wrong for not including this in your top 10. So let me show you a bit about the game if you haven't heard about it before. So here we have a game of Copycat set up. First thing you'll see is that it's like a worker placement game like Agricola, but it also has deck builder elements like Dominion, with a bit of Through the Ages thrown in and a bit of Power Grid as well. As you mentioned in your video, Tom, Friedman Freeze is a mad scientist, and this game is Frankenstein's monster. Also, how cool is the peace sign Meeple and the theme of the game being a political campaign? So that was Copycat. It's one of my favorites because I really love Dominion and other deck builders, and I also love worker placements. The elements of Through the Ages and Power Grid also shown through, and it was really cool, especially when you had the tension of picking your player order. It's like, do I get to play this really awesome card, or do I use it to ensure I am first in the player order? Tom, back to you.
Okay, well, Copycat, I don't like it. That's why it didn't make my list. Eric Summer likes it. I don't care if Friedman's Freeze said in front of it. It's basically a bunch of another games smashed together, and that's okay. Like I was saying earlier, that's fine, but I didn't find it interesting. It was it was a funny idea, but meh. That's what it is for me, and that's why it didn't make my top 10. But other people like it, as you can see. Okay, well, that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. We are done for this time. I'll see you guys in a week and one day. Remember, next week it will be late. I'll see you guys later for some live Q&A. And, just because we're going to be gone at the UK Games Expo this week doesn't mean there's not going to be content, so keep an eye out for that. And if you're there, come by and say hi to us. The summer is here, craziness is here, and videos will keep on coming. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. You've been watching Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at coolstuffinc.com.